I'm Rebecca Clark. I'm actually a successor, but one to Wendy Baldwin, and from what is now called the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development. And I was pretty stunned when Mike Horrigan said Bureau of Labor Statistics were the labor people, because NICHD, which focuses a lot on child and maternal health, thinks that we're the labor people, like labor and delivery. So what I'm going to talk to you about is a little bit about NICHD's, what we have funded in the NLSY, particularly the 79, and why, even though our funding for the NLSY 79 was supposed to stop this year, we got so excited we managed to persuade our institute to fund it for another 5 years. We were funders of the NLSY 97, but in the trade-off on which one we wanted to go forward with, we chose 79 and I'm not entirely sure, we're done with or almost done with our funding for 97, again, just not because of the science, because they're limited funds. And we also fund it's an RO1 basic research grant. The PI is now Elizabeth Cooksey, to look at older children of the NLSY 79, and that's been tremendously successful. Okay, so as everyone in this room knows, the 79 cohort is the cohort born in 67 to 64. Yes, born in 1957 to 1964. Did I say that wrong? In other words, me. I was born in 1960. This ends up being very important to the continued funding of the NLSY 79, because it is not only my birth cohort, it's the birth cohort of virtually every woman with decision-making power within NICHD, which is why we're getting the next 5 years. So in 1986, NICHD added questions on maternal and child health and well-being, and this is important to my institute. We've had 8 peer-reviewed grant awards across NIH at NICHD and NIDA, which is drug abuse, and NIAAA, which is, they've changed what it is. It has to do with alcoholism and alcohol. But they changed it to be take the word abuse out somehow. For the NLSY, 79, there were over 1,000 publications. So these are the questions that NICHD supports the asking of. For the respondents, it's fertility, family contraception, and child care. In other words, I have a very good idea who paid for the question on what time did you have sex. That's always us. For the children of the respondents, their age-appropriate child assessments, and then information on demographic characteristics, health in the home environment from the mother usually, and then from the kids, attitudes, aspirations, psychological well-being. Then for kids aged 10 and up, parent-child interaction, schooling, dating, friendship, health, substance use. And for the older kids, 15 to 25, it's schooling, work, health, dating, fertility. So we get this intergenerational information. Okay, so, and this is what we are now funding that we had not planned to. So, the NLSY 79 is the only source of population representative data on how maternal age affects child health across the child's life course, including health, development, and productivity. Productivity means all those economic outcomes. And this cohort is really unusual, the cohort around 1960. And what we have is, we have information on, though not from birth, their early children born to them at very early ages. And the reason we're trying to we extended for 5 years is we want to get what happened with the children who were born at the very end of their fertile periods. And I think we were only following them through elementary school, middle childhood, and this 5 years is huge. because we wanted to get them to at least age 13 is what we can afford to do, 13, 14, 15 in there. So that we'll be able to compare for the same group of mothers what their children look like, what their children who were born when they were 18 look like compared to the children who were born when they were 35. And we're able to look at the differences between, say, a first child born at age 35, my daughter Emma, compared with somebody whose sixth child is born at age 35. And this is the only way we're going to have longitudinal data on this. And this was very powerful. We had agreed that we were going to stop funding it, NICHD was going to stop funding it until this became clear that we were missing out on, we were never going to have this outcomes for children across the entire reproductive period. And it was the discussion on whether to fund this was one of the most gendered discussions I've ever been involved in. Because the men in the room, not all of them, but some of them were like, and the women in the room were saying, what about me? I had a baby at 46. And are you going to be able to get at like the fact that often when you have a first marriage and a second marriage, that you have another set of babies in your second marriage? And I knew all the people in the room, so I know what basically they were talking about. Is this going to tell my life story? And the answer was, yes, it will tell your life story. And we actually managed to get another 5 years out of it with the promise that we will never come back again. Sure. Anyway. Peanut gallery over there, Randy?
That was a promise you made 5 years ago.
It wasn't me who made it. There'll be by then who can forget about the promise. Anyway, so that is our forward-looking. We're very, very excited about this because we don't think we're ever going to have a chance to get these data before, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.